Alright, I'm not gonna beat around the bush in this intro. Goblin Slayer originally written by Komo Kagayu and illustrated by Noboru Kanatsuki. I'm so sorry if I butchered those names, I don't know how to speak Japanese. It's one of the most brutal series you are ever gonna encounter. It is gory, dark, depraved, savage, vicious, relentless. You know, I could keep adding adjectives like that describe the series like that, but I think you got the gist of what picture I'm trying to create of the Goblin Slayer series. And if you think I'm overreacting, then here, let me show you a few clips of the show. Yep, like I said, the Goblin Slayer series is hardcore and uncensored. And I for one, love that. There's nothing too brutal for Goblin Slayer, it will do it all. For better or for worse. The story of Goblin Slayer is deceptively simple. As the series name might suggest, it centers around killing goblins. We have our main character and his name is conveniently also Goblin Slayer. We don't know his real name, and we don't need to know it for the purpose of the story. All we know about him is that he's a man in his 20s, he grew up on a farm, and that he's a silver-ranked adventurer. And all we know him for is his intense drive to murder the green little bastards known as goblins. And as you might have guessed by his name, he slays goblins for a living. But there's so much more to be explored under the surface. Leaving the series with an explanation like that only scratches the surface. Now, I'm not gonna stand here and tell you the series is a deep, one-of-a-kind masterpiece, because, well, it isn't. But just dumbing the entire series down to brutal goblin genocide is also wrong. Goblin Slayer incorporates themes like rage, loss, insanity, psychosis, and more. Goblins are known as low-tier monsters that don't serve much of a threat because of their small size and lower intelligence compared to humans. They are no threat to the average human on their own, and because of that and their low tier, they are often underestimated by new adventurers or villagers, which makes them overconfident and stupid. Goblins work a lot like wolves, where they are pack hunters and rely on power and numbers, and on top of that, they also know how to use basic tools, such as bows, spears, swords, clubs, and so on. And when people go into their territory without proper knowledge, resources, and equipment, the goblins absolutely slaughter them. This is where our main character, Goblin Slayer, comes into the picture. Goblin Slayer was once a normal village boy who wanted to become an adventurer when he grew up. But one night, his village was attacked by goblins and everyone he knew was brutally killed and mutilated by the goblin attack. He survived by hiding in his house basement until nightfall, while watching what was happening through a crack in the floorboards, which scarred him for life because he had to watch his loved ones get mutilated and defiled by the evil green little hellspawns. And ever since that day, Goblin Slayer has had a deep-rooted hatred for goblins, and strives every day to kill more of the green pests in the most agonizing ways possible. I wouldn't really call Goblin Slayer a hero kind of protagonist, as much as I would call him an anti-hero. Yeah, he saves other people by killing goblins, but the ways he kills them are psychotically brutal and at the very least as disturbing as what the goblins do to other humans. Now, like I said earlier, the story of Goblin Slayer is deceptively simple, but saying that doesn't mean I don't like it. Goblin Slayer kills goblins, that's it. But the genius of the Goblin Slayer series comes from its uninhibited objective to underscore the savagery of the goblins throughout the series. Throughout the series, we see how savage and evil the goblins are multiple times, and how they mercilessly murder people and villagers who underestimate them for being low-tier monsters. Ever since the goblins took everything away from Goblin Slayer, he has devoted his life to being able to kill as many of them as he can in different ways. Along with Goblin Slayer's ruthless hatred for goblins, he utilizes a myriad of techniques to kill goblins and keep the viewer entertained. I'm telling you, if there's a way to kill one of those green little monsters, he has probably done it before. Let me read aloud one of my favorite Goblin Slayer quotes. "Imagination is a weapon. Those who lack it are the first to die." I personally think this quote sums up our main character to a T. He has been driven to utter insanity by his hatred, rage, lust for revenge, and guilt. Yet he retains the best parts of himself and still strives to do what is right, even if that right is through his own clouded eyes. His imagination has no limits when it comes to goblin genocide. Studio White Fox was the studio that animated the Goblin Slayer anime adaptation, and in my opinion, they have done a superb job illustrating the sheer brutality that is Goblin Slayer, and the bloodthirsty rampages he goes on when he hunts goblins. Honestly, I feel like Goblin Slayer would be a perfect friend for Doomslayer, with their myriad of different ways they brutally kill their respective monsters and enemies. Honestly, they would be perfect friends. Alright, it's time to get back on track. Now, it might sound like I'm contradicting my previous statements by saying Goblin Slayer is simple when it comes to its plot, but at the same time saying it's more than that. And I say that because, yeah, Goblin Slayer is simple. You get everything just from reading the title of the show. But it is what the show does with its very, very narrow plot and the things it explores that make it deep at the same time. The goblins' way of living and how they destroy and attack people that aren't prepared for them, by sending out scouts, or how they destroy people who underestimate them. Or how we get to look at how badly the survivors of goblin attacks' minds have been shattered because of the horrible things they have witnessed or been subjected to. That either results in them being scarred or traumatized for life, or results in them seeking revenge like our main character. Goblin Slayer has been traumatized by the goblins, which has resulted in him not being able to think of anything else than how to kill more goblins and shield people from the goblins, so they don't have to go through the things he had to. Goblin Slayer has a simple yet extremely disturbing and graphic plot, where we watch a man of focus, commitment and sheer will commit mass goblin genocide in multiple different creative ways. So if you enjoy dark medieval fantasy and you can tolerate uncomfortable and very graphic content, I can highly recommend giving Goblin Slayer a watch. It perfectly captures the spirit of a D&D campaign, and it deserves some praise for some of the unique solutions and scenarios it comes up with. So if you enjoy dark medieval fantasy and you can tolerate uncomfortable and very graphic content, I can highly recommend giving Goblin Slayer a watch. And the second season of Goblin Slayer is on the horizon, so that's all the more reason to give the anime a try and see if you like it. Well folks, that's all I had to talk about today. I hope I was able to convince you to give Goblin Slayer a try, and if I wasn't, oh well, I tried. Thank you all so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and if you think there are some things I can improve on, please write it down in the comments. I would love to hear constructive criticism. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, you look amazing, see ya!